Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today we're clearly not unboxing anything. Today we're drilling into some of the core differences between the award-winning Debut Evo and its brand new variant, the Debut Evo 2. Cosmetically and at first glance, most people would think, some of these differences aren't really that obvious, and why is it now a little bit more expensive? But this video is very much centered around explaining some of these key differences and highlighting the value that ProJect have added with this new version to lift the standard, drop the noise floor and improve the overall quality of playback significantly. Right, okay, so firstly, both of them look cosmetically very similar. Look, we've got one here in gloss red and one of the satin blues. These are two very popular colours, and again they look pretty much the same. They all have Perspex lids, all of those types of things, everything, yeah, very similar. Take that off for a second, and I'll take this off. Because it's when you start drilling into the product that you realise some of these subtle differences are pronounced in their performance. So firstly, starting with the arm, on both of these products, we see a change from the traditional 2M red cartridge and stylus combination from Ortofon into a collaboration using the new PIC-IT MM. It's an Evo cartridge and stylus, and it has a new earth geometry and pin configuration, ensuring that you could change things from a fully balanced design perspective as well. The arm remains the same, of one piece of carbon fibre, no screws and unnecessary jointing. The bolts and other things are identical and that kind of stuff as well. The general mount and raise lower is identical between the two. Both are oil dampened, so you can immediately raise it up and then it will slowly lower the unit down. It's where you see past there that we see a significant evolution and change. In the previous model in Debut Evo and Debut Carbon, we see a relatively limited bearing and point contact for the arm. We see a far more elaborate version in the new Debut Evo 2. There was a lot of R&D done for ProJect's Debut Pro. In fact, there it is there. A sort of a lovely looking design, chrome elements to it from a quality perspective and a physical element, but the engineering and tooling that went into improve the main bearing for the arm has now trickled down into the Debut Evo 2. It doesn't have the chrome elements, but you can see every other element of it. Spinning the turntables around a little bit, we see a very subtle change to the counterweight. The Debut Evo has a traditional counterweight that we probably saw in the Debut Carbon and predecessors. The Evo 2 now features a Sorbothane ring between where the point contact on the back of the arm and the counterweight itself. The concept behind it is to vastly reduce the potential for microscopic vibration. The Sorbothane is used throughout. In fact, the feet are the same between. We'll touch on that as well. But Sorbothane is kind of like a rubber that never really cures very well. So you end up with this constant sort of firm but soft approach to its connection with things. It's meant that the overall noise associated with the arm seems to be slightly lower, and with that some of the microscopic transient effects that are left with having to use a counterweight are eliminated. We see the same step down, by the way, on the arm itself. There's a physical decoupling of the counterweight and a little L bracket. That's identical between them. Looking at the front, again, we can all, the switch is the same. We've got 33 to one side, 0 in the middle, and 45. With the Debut Evo, the felt mat and platter are very different to the new version. So, forgiven, of course, the felt mat's got to be the same, but what we see at a glance is a significant focus on the tooling involved with the manufacture of the platter. The platter in the Debut Evo is steel, and with the Debut Carbon, which is the older version, we saw this steel having a potential ring to it. They've vastly improved it with the Evo by introducing a rubber dampening ring. With the new Evo 2, it's gone twofold. We see steel being replaced with aluminium and a double ring, so a massive improvement in the dampening ring and a double ring effect from a mass perspective on the external of the platter. Now this was first introduced in some of their very expensive turntables like their Classic and Classic Evo. So the dampening ring and the two other things means that we've got a very mass orientated platter, so inertia is a very good thing from this perspective, but without any of the sonic rings associated with steel, and that's a big improvement. Putting that to one side, we're able to tilt these forward and see that the motor and other things have evolved as well. Now, in this unit, firstly, the previous Evo allowed for, with the change of a belt, allowed for you to introduce and add the ability to play both 33s and 45s with the switch. And then you'd change the belt and it would play 78s. I'll be honest, that created a little bit of confusion because most 78s are pretty much like trying to listen to sandpaper as far as what they'll do. So for those people, they were constantly having to try and change the stylus in preparation to playback. So realistically, those people that are listening to 78s aren't likely to buy a turntable at this end of the market. They may be going to buy something with a removable head shell. And then it's easy to change both the cartridge and stylus for the more suitable playback and perhaps some of the boutique end of things like a mono cartridge as well. So in the new version, they've opted for a single pulley wheel, beautifully machined, ready just for 33 and 45. At a glance, you'll see that both motors are suspended with rubber grommets on the screws and are recessed in the plinth. Subtly, you may have caught up on the fact that this motor is recessed a little bit further. The concept behind this is we are sort of lowering the centre of gravity, we're increasing the physical height difference between the arm and the motor, and some of these tiny microscopic vibrations that may be left in the plinth, won't be then transferred through to potentially the arm itself. Basically, the concept is to try and reduce the noise floor of the deck. The second thing is obvious when I start to remove the central pulley wheel. The bearing is stunning, and you will hear a sort of a suction. So firstly, the bearing in the debut Evo is good, okay? But the Evo 2, she sees the bearing change to one that has better engineering behind it and slightly different materials being used in it. Essentially, it's a trickle down from some of ProJect's far more expensive turntables like the X1 and X2. You'll also see that that central bearing is now further recessed. Again, it's about lowering the operational moving parts away from the surface of the arm itself. Those subtle things are quite obvious when you start listening to it. Reassembling that for a moment, having to actually, like a syringe, sort of push the air out of these. We're going to assemble that part of it again. And the platter. Both have exceptional inertia, so both with the steel platter and with the aluminium. The mass means this thing will sit and spin for a long period of time, and that's the whole concept and idea behind it all, is that the platter wants to keep moving under its own inertia and only needs a little bit of input from the motor. And that's a brilliant quality that the whole debut range has delivered. Spinning it around at the back, we see again some not so subtle changes. What ProJect have opted to do is take the connecting points that are somewhat recessed and lowered inside a steel box and make them integrated in the plinth itself. It makes connections much easier. It is no longer, basically you can look over the back of the turntable and very quickly know what you're doing. Previous models, you sort of had to spin it around or get down behind it, and so that makes it much easier from that perspective. But there's evidence to suggest that incorporating it in the plinth means that the potential for resonance associated with the additional steel box is reduced, and bolting it securely within the plinth itself helps eliminate any potential microscopic vibration. Again, all of these subtle things are designed to lower the operational noise floor of the turntable, and with that have an unveiling effect. You'll see also that they've opted to have internally the 15 volt power supply. That's a nice sort of cosmetic change more than anything, and again, personally I'm a fan because it makes the connections subtly easier. Both turntables still have the Sorbothane feet, which are adjustable and levelable, so that's an excellent feature that they have retained. There's a couple of other little cosmetic things as well. The anti-skate weight, which remains the same weight, has evolved slightly into something perhaps a little bit more elegant. And again, hang around for all of the close-ups. So recapping, between the Evo and the Evo 2, we see the 2M Red evolve to the new Picket MM Evo. We see the arms stay the same, the counterweight evolve to one that then includes a Sorbothane ring. We see the motor sink down and a single pulley wheel rather than the dual. We see the bearing improved, central bearing. We see the sub-platter lowered within the chassis. A much improved platter with a double ring on the outside, heavier mass, higher mass, lower noise floor from a resonant perspective, and a bigger rubber ring. Then finally, we see some improvements both in cosmetic and operation from the connections and the 15 volt input. So, there we have it. ProJect's Evo and Evo 2 turntables. Some of the subtle but massive from a performance perspective improvements explained here today. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.